Bard is one of them. They're the beings that basically created the world and filled it with heroes so that they could fight back against the Watchers.
Okay. By the way, I'm streaming now on YouTube, so we're on YouTube.
Yay!
I'm now live on Twitch. I'm just trying to double check and see if I can make sure that the chat can stream. Like if I can see it.
Oh yeah, I have no idea how to look at chat in YouTube because I've never
well,
streamed YouTube.
I say, well, is there a way? Does anyone know how to get my chat to pop up on the screen that I'm playing? So like I don't have to be monitoring the chat with another device.
Oh man, I wish I knew how.
I just have Twitch open on my second monitor when I stream to Twitch.
But that's so annoying to do.
Second
like,
monitor.
NVIDIA, the NVIDIA
Rich
thing,
person. All right, no, I'm kidding.
I'm actually using an old gaming laptop, so I really just have a monitor and the laptop screen.
The NVIDIA thing's got settings that lets me set my HUD layout, and it tells me I've got it. The viewers works, but the comments section where like I can set what part of my screen and what comments to show on. The comment section does not show up when people comment. So like last week when the guy was commenting, it wasn't like even though he was commenting, it wouldn't show what he was doing, or like it wouldn't show on my game screen what he was saying.
Right.
So I don't know if I have to do it through Twitch or through something else. I'm just going to warn everyone right now, the music I've got going on in the background tonight is Weird Al, so you might be getting some sing-alongs.
Woo!
I just don't want to get copyright striked.
I've got credit to him. The description in the thing says this thing in the description says this is who I'm listening to today.
That may or may not matter.
I don't know.
If only we had an intellectual property lawyer who could inform us on these things and say that that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Typically with live streaming, they will be a little more lenient, but still probably copyright strike you, so the ad revenue doesn't go towards you.
Okay, well, we're not making
not
ad revenue right now anyway, so.
Yeah, good point. But they're not going to like sue you or anything.
No, they'll
I don't
just
know.
take all
This
the money
is the
you
man
make.
who wrote a song called "I'm Gonna Sue."
Who wrote that
Man,
song?
and it's
he wrote a song
Amish,
called "I'm Gonna Sue."
It's Amish paradise right now too, so I can't. I claim no. I just have no responsibility over what's going to go on right now.
It is
So-
kind of funny though how Weird Al writes parodies, which are totally legal and protected above all else.
Yeah.
But if you sing a song that he basically copied, then
If
that's
if I sing his copied song,
right. If you copy his copied song, that's a problem. Unless you make a parody of his parody, which is also a thing. Let's
Yeah,
see,
like Tim
only-
Hawkins did a parody of a cover of a song. If you know what I'm talking about.
parody of the Disturbed cover.
Yeah, Disturbed cover of Sound of Silence.
Yeah, Sound of Starbucks. It's great. Go look it up. We have a viewer. I hope he hasn't commented. Sorry, viewer, if you're commenting. I'm
Guys,
unaware of
I have a
how to do
concurrent
this.
viewer. I hope it's not one of you.
I'm gonna test.
It may have
this.
been me.
Is it one of you? Or one of
Not
you?
on Twitch.
Huh?
I wasn't on Twitch. I was on YouTube.
It's okay. So none of you guys are watching the Twitch stream.
Not I.
Not me.
I still can't see that comment. Okay. Viewer, hold on a second. I'm pulling up a second screen so I can see comments. One of these days, I'm going to be tech savvy enough to know what I'm doing. Until then,
Hey,
you just gotta bear with my incompetence.
today I was super proud of myself because I have a really nice computer at work, but I didn't have a good monitor. but we have like a couple extra old like 2009 Retina display iMacs. And I figured out how to use them as monitors instead of computers.
Ah,
So now I have a 2500 by 1440 display with great color accuracy. That's 27 inches as a monitor, even though it's basically useless as a computer. And it's a Mac, but I have it working with my PC, which is
Take
also
that.
kind of, yeah, suck it, Apple.
You attacked me. I was flying and I got attacked.
Fortunately, she's over water, so when she falls, she won't die. But yeah, aggressive flying Pokemon. I've never thought of that. They're basically suicide bombers. I will attack you, and you will beat me, but then you will fall and die.
Training Kiss. Interesting.
A lens of power. Also,
all right. Coming back to Spawn Town, just to hang out
Cool.
and steal all your legendary spawns if there are any.
Yikes.
oh hey, I can see comments.
I'm just killing things in the end.
Aren't we all just killing things in the end? I don't
I
know.
tried so hard.
If by things you mean time, then yeah, kind of. Twitch, did you say you
Oh.
tried so hard at something?
I tried so hard and got so far.
Oh,
But in the end, it doesn't really matter.
if you fall in the end, nothing matters.
But I had to fall to lose it all. But in the end, nothing really matters.
To me.
Whoa. Elytras make jumping so much more fun.
How do you use those?
You double tap spacebar.
Okay.
You don't. You
So
fall to your
basically-
death, and then you blame the developers.
So basically, you if you jump run like normal, but then if you
Oh,
while
Sorry,
you've
go ahead.
jumped and you're coming down and you double tap spacebar, you kind of like glitch through the floor and it thinks you're flying, so you like run a little bit faster.
I have super sad news, Dragon.
Yes.
So right after everyone got off, I was the last one on last week, and I was working on some stuff, and I was getting ready to leave, and the bells started chiming,
Oh.
and they started chiming in the morning, and
That means there's a Lugia, right?
this means there was a Lugia coming, and then it just never appeared.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think what happened was there wasn't enough room around the bells to spawn it.
Oh.
So
Huh.
I have cleared out a giant space up top. Hopefully that works next time they spawn. Next time they ring.
Wow.
I was all excited too. I sat there and waited like with eager expectation for like I don't know for an entire Minecraft day.
Dang.
So I don't know if there is actually something else I was supposed to do, and I was lied to by the wiki, or if
Well,
or if it just wasn't like if there wasn't enough room for it.
or I wonder if it's possible if it was my bell and it will only
Either-
spawn if
No, if your bell goes off, it according to the thing it will spawn. It's just if you're not on, instead of seeking you out, it'll just fly around like a normal legendary. So either way, it should have spawned.
Then I don't know.
I don't either. I'll probably keep that.
Speaking of things I don't know, does anyone else know what the move Retaliate does?
I'm gonna guess it retaliates.
Okay, that's not specific enough to be helpful, but I would tend to agree with you.
Wait.
You didn't ask if I was helpful about it. Sorry, I've been hanging on my youth too long.
And
I'll
you
sit there and
turned
ask
into a high
questions.
schooler again?
I guess. I'll sit there and ask them questions like, all right, so does anyone know what today is? And they'll be like, it's Sunday. Or if they're really feeling snarky, they'll be like, it's today.
So actually, no, it's yesterday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. You jerks.
That'll teach
High
them.
schoolers, man.
That'll
High
show them
schoolers.
the love of Christ. Make
Yeah.
them feel bad for dumb answers.
Yeah.
Man, if there's one thing I wanted in this game, it'd be an experience all.
I've got one, but I need it.
Yeah.
What does an experience all do?
Instead of
The
you-
greatest things.
you have it in your inventory, and all of the non-active Pokemon in the battle gain 50% of the experience.
It
the
levels up
battle.
your team. It levels up your team so fast.
So
All of your team.
do they get EVs as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's an EXP share, but for everyone that didn't fight.
Yep.
And how does it, like, do you have to hold it or?
Yep. It's in your
Yeah,
inventory.
it's in your inventory, and you have to turn it on.
Oh,
So you could use it in tandem, I believe, with things like power bands, the things that increase EV yields.
hmm
So I'm pretty sure.
Guys,
I think so.
I think I have a viewer. My watch time is going up.
Shh! Don't speak too loud. You might spook him
Oh, or her.
or her.
Wow. Your sexist comment made them
Oh
leave.
no!
I mean,
It's my fault, guys.
across all of our streaming platforms, we probably have at least 3 viewers.
I have one viewer, and I think it might be myself.
I have 1 viewer. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if I have more. My YouTube, my Facebook, our Facebook feed.
Oh, it's
Yeah, we're trying to steal everyone's limelight, man.
Ends up getting like 200 or 300 views by the end of it. Now, I don't know if anybody sticks around, but if you are watching, try to stick around.
Or not, because in the end, nothing really matters.
You are like a ball full of joy today.
Yeah, it was a long day.
Does anyone have anything specific they're wanting to do today, or is everyone working on their own little thing? 'Cause I've got-
I'll do whatever anybody wants to do.
Same. I'm
I did
kind of
not know
just
if there was
aimlessly EV training until something better comes along.
We could all fight.
I'm working on a breed farm. Well, define fight.
Throw
'Cause,
Pokemon at each other.
I ain't beating you, dude. I mean, I will put up a better chance than I did last time, but your Pokemon are still like 30 levels higher than mine.
Well, okay. Yeah. I have a
My-
level 47 that's on my team.
I'll say my
Uh,
highest right now is level 59 Charizard.
Okay. I am exactly 30 levels higher than you on my highest Pokemon.
See?
I caught a level
could-
60 that I could use.
I mean, I guess we could all go into the tournament or go into the arena and set everything to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one problem with that is we don't get experience, but it's still fun.
Also,
Yeah. I mean, I'm down to do that.
I have no megas.
I don't have megas either.
I've got
I mean,
3
technically,
things I could make megas, but I don't have any of those actual Pokemon.
Yeah, I have some of the stone things to Mega Evolve, and I have some Pokemon that can Mega Evolve, but there's no crossover between the two.
I
But
think the
never
only
the
one
twain
that I
shall
have
meet.
that I actually have a combination of is like Camerupt.
I
I
have Metagross and Aggron. But right now I'm only evolving Aggron because Metagross is gross already.
Gross.
He's already gross. Aggron needs it.
I think I have. I'm pretty sure I could do Kangaskhan, but the Kangaskhan I have is not. It's the wild one I caught, and it is not really. The moveset on it is not great.
So the one thing that people might have an advantage over me on is, well, I don't have the best moveset, but I also don't have the best IVs.
Oh, IVs? Yeah, I don't have really great. I haven't. I am currently working on my breeding farm, which will then let me start working on IVs.
The only Pokemon I have that have good IVs are really low level. Like, I guess, so my Mamoswine is level 53. That's the highest thing I have with good IVs, but everything else is in the 20s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody wants to battle, you can do the level 100
I will
thing.
for sure battle.
If you can find me, I will fight you.
I think you know where to find me.
No. If you can find me, I will fight you.
Oh. Let me go on Twitch.
Boom.
Dang it. Foiled again.
He has a very specific set of skills. He will find you.
He can go on Twitter or Twitch. He can go on Twitter too, but I'm not on Twitter, so it won't do him any good if he goes on Twitter.
Somebody go to this Twitch channel.
No, see, he'll go to Twitter, to tweet out the Twitch channel for everyone else to go report on where you're at. He's gonna crowdsource it.
You dastard. Crowdsourcing?
Whoa.
Someone has clearly been to the Poké Center and has been robbed of everything except the healer and the empty chest.
The walls?
Yeah.
Did they take the walls down? Yeah, that was me. I've been harvesting Poké Centers. I was told as long as it wasn't the one in our town, it was fine.
Yep,
Yeah.
no, it was out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, wait, everything's gone. Yeah. And leave them in the villages.
I may have taken one of those too. But if I did it, I think I took one out of a village, but it was in the ultra space.
Oh.
Well, the healer's still in that one.
Yeah, there's no point in mining healers.
I know. Well, I'm just saying, the one I actually did in the ultra space actually did have a gym by it too, but it's workable. It's just a husk of a building.
My signature that you know I've been somewhere is if I took the clock from the Poké Shop.
Oh, I have never ever checked that.
I
didn't know you could take the clocks. I didn't know there was one, nor that you could take it.
Yep. I'm not taking the one in town. It needs to be complete. But also, I tried to drown the shopkeepers in one of them because I was trying to do an experiment to see if they'd respawn, and because the one I was trying to drown was just selling mail, and I wanted to see if they'd respawn and sell TM, but turns out they don't drown. They don't get damaged at all.
Turns out we all thought Viper was the villain of this world. Turns out it's George.
Once again, we are the villains.
What do you mean we? I haven't tried to kill anybody.
On this one, sure.
Sure. No, I was totally the main villain back in
Sorry about
whatever that first game we played was called.
Empyrean.
I was
We were
totally
definitely the villains.
I was a serial killer in that one. Grief.
And in Ark, George definitely killed Santa Claus.
Yes, that was hilarious. Holy cow.
Wait, you killed Santa? Like you killed Raptor Claus?
No, it was Gotcha Claus. It was the first one I saw. I was like,
right.
wow, can this guy take damage? And I pulled up my shotgun, and one hit killed him, and he flew.
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, Gotcha Claus is a little different than Raptor Claus.
Yeah, no, Raptor Claus flies above the dome, such as you can't actually get to it.
Needless to say, I didn't get any presents this last year.
Raptor Claus isn't real, guys.
Hey, spoilers. We don't know who's out there watching.
Ooh, wait. I'll take a Scooth Bell. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no!
Seeds. Got it.
Oh. Man, guess no one wants to fight today, man.
You haven't come found me.
I will fight you.
I'm too busy fighting innocent woodland creatures.
Are you at the arena?
Yeah, I am.
Don't stay in their Pokeballs. Stop.
Let me heal again. Okay, do you want to do level cap or just
Let's
as
try
is?
both.
Okay.
I feel like I used to see Cacneas like everywhere, and now I hardly see them, and they're what I want to be killing right now.
That's why. When you don't want it, you see them everywhere. Once you want it, they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, but that's not actually a thing.
That's
But it
what they
is.
want you to think.
They know exactly what you want.
It's an inside
Ooh.
job, man.
Done sparse. I believe I already have one of those.
Those can have ancient power.
They can.
But only if they're ancient.
And powerful.
And
Alright,
powerful.
let's get my team.
The ancient pathetic ones and the new powerful ones. And the new pathetic ones. None of them have it. Only the ancient and powerful ones.
I really
Okay.
feel like you should get experience for shoveling dirt. I'd be level 80 right now.
You are a level 80 dirt shoveler.
That's right.
You shovel well.
I shovel. I shovel well.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, ready. I'm George. Let's do normal battle. Okay.
Yikes.
See what happens.
Hey, guess what? We gained a subscriber on Twitch this past week.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
People who are watching are gonna say, "What in the world?" Ooh, thanks.
We've got like 3.
Volcarona. Oh, level 80. Oh.
That's
Okay.
all he's got. If you beat it, you win.
Ouch.
Actually, I don't really know. I just assume.
Okay, he whacked me.
Get
Um,
whacked.
Let's try this guy.
Yikes.
Ooh, what are you? Are you a Pidgeotto or a Pidgeot? Not
A level
a
65.
Pidgeotto.
Yikes.
And we are.
Yep, I know what it is.
I love how it explodes whenever. Oh, I got wrecked.
Yeah, get one shot.
How
Shouldn't
does
have taken a
it feel,
move so they
George?
got evolve. Oh, that was weak.
All right.
Yep, there I go.
Man, Suicide, oh no. Is that a shiny or do they always have that?
They always have it.
Okay, I was gonna say. Impressive. Wow, I'm scared.
You probably shouldn't be. I haven't leveled this guy up at all.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure this will be fine.
everything's very stock.
Just throw out my level 89 here.
Yikes. Yikes. Why did I do that? Just keep
I
doing
think
this
I have
and
higher
will
speed.
die.
Oh no, you survived that hit, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna survive the next one though.
Well, yeah, but. Does Earthquake work on Mandibuzz?
Probably not.
Dang. Okay.
That was awful.
Guys, I
Gotta
just
switch.
owned this level 15 Pokemon trainer. You should be proud of me.
Good job.
Please be proud of me.
I'm moderately proud. Wow, I do no damage to that.
Machamp. Let's meteor mash the Machamp.
Yikes. Yeah, well,
Good games, good games. So to heal, and then do we want to do level 100?
sure. If we do level 100, I think I'll use different Pokemon.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with the same dudes. Lead with a different guy. That way you get to see him. Although right now he's carrying Lucky Egg instead of the item I want him to carry.
I don't. Yeah, none of mine are really holding anything.
Alright.
Oops. Okay.
Battle rules, level cap 100. Raise to cap on. I think that's it.
Who won the fight?
George.
Yeah, I got it.
So when you raise them to level 100, does it just max out the normal stats that they have, and then you keep the same moves?
Yeah, the only thing it changes is it assumes that you leveled up to 100 in terms of stats. That's all.
Okay.
You don't get any experience from the fight.
Right.
Nope. Okay. Oh, ouch. Okay. What do we got? What do we got? Haha. Haha. Oh. Now the question is, if I have the speed, I think I've got this.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
Yep, I sword stanced, so you're in trouble. Oh, that was a
Oh, you're
move
not
selection
dead?
issue.
Dang. Okay. That
I'm pretty
sucks.
confident this guy is probably the fastest guy on the field right now.
Wow, you didn't even let me get my Destiny bond off.
I think he's. Oh, he might not get through this guy. Oh man. Okay. Let's roost.
You guys fighting in the arena?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mandibuzz has a ton of health, so I'm not sure if I can just sweep him.
Well, I can't kill you either if you keep roosting.
Guys, were one of you looking for a Dunsparce?
No. We were just talking about that one that's right next to us.
Okay. Because
I mean, you were looking for one like a month ago.
Yeah, I got one from Mrs. Jagan because I needed one with ancient power.
Ooh.
So that I could get
Count on
Memo Swine.
So Halucha did not want to go down. He just kept fighting.
And so that means you won?
Yeah, I won.
I wasn't strong enough.
Jagan, do you want to fight?
Sure.
Oh.
Let me go get a team that isn't just here to tank hits while I try to catch things.
Okay, so I have a Wailord also. Let's compare Wailord sizes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Say my Wailord is ordinary in size.
Yeah, and I want to see how big of a difference a enormous one is.
Oh, do you have an enormous one?
Yes.
I'm interested in this.
For science. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Here. I don't think it fits in the arena.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
whoa.
It takes up the arena. Oh man. Let me. All right. I'm swimming. Swimming.
The fact that you can ride that. Like, you don't even take up one of its spots on its back.
Oh man. Here, let me throw it out here.
Oh, now I'm.
Look at that.
Dang.
So Mrs. Fell has a big one. I don't remember what the size standards are. Or, like, it doesn't say big. I don't remember what it says exactly, but hers is larger than mine.
I'm tempted to get into breeding just so I can get a ginormous Wailord. Because this one's just enormous.
That's your goal, is the largest Wailord.
Yeah, literally the largest Pokemon available. Alright, let's ride it. I like how it rides on land. Now, it doesn't have the best maneuverability here, I have to say.
I mean, it is a whale.
But it does jump.
Huh.
It's a whale of a whale.
Donna, 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 Donna.
Apparently, I need more speed EVs in my life.
Doesn't everyone?
Oh my gosh. I just looked over to my left and saw a giant whale.
It's coming for you. Donna,
Some of
Donna,
this.
Donna.
My Mamoswine just gets lost in your whale body.
That's what everybody says
That's
to me.
awkward.
Not the first time I heard that.
Really?
Actually, that is a brand new sentence.
Really? Because I'm overweight, and that's the first time I've heard that.
Mamo. They just added Mamoswine to Pokemon Go. And by
Really?
just, I mean it was somewhat recently. Like, it's a Gen 4. Like, Swinub and Pillowswine are before Gen 4, but Mamoswine's Gen 4.
Ow, cactuses.
My old nemesis.
I like how I take fall damage whenever I get off of it.
Get off of what?
Because you're that tall.
My
Oh,
Wailord.
the Wailord. I used to take fall damage when I get off my Talonflame.
I take fall damage when I
'cause it
jump
hovers.
off of my Mandibuzz.
Yeah.
Because
Weird.
I'm usually up in the air.
Ooh.
But I have an Elytra now, so I can kind of survive.
Oh.
Just killing Diglets for those speed EVs.
Is it weird that Diglett gives a speed EV?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just wondering. Everyone else thought that was weird.
Yep.
And watch, there's probably someone that's like, actually, Diglett's one of the fastest Pokemon in the Pokédex.
I'll be right back.
Man, Diglets.
You get Shedinja when you evolve Nincada into Ninjask? Okay.
And you have an empty space in your, an empty Pokeball and an empty space in your team.
Yes.
Ow! Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl.
Ouch, Poliwhirl. That hurt, and it's still hurting.
My gosh.
And we're back.
Tickle dick, tickle dick.
Oh, yeah, I left my computer at the stadium.
Tickle dick, tickle dick.
Okay, what else to do in this game?
I have done everything there is to do.
I mean, I haven't done everything, but I'm thinking more of for a video's sake.
Oh, I'm thinking for a video's sake, what if we went and hunted? I don't know how we would do it exactly, but hunted legendaries, because there's items that I still want.
You mean bosses or legendaries?
Bosses, yeah, sorry.
That would be great, but how do you determine who gets to fight what boss?
Well, that I don't know, and I also don't know how you hunt bosses other than wander around in the wild until you find one.
I'll say you find flat surfaces. I was told, right?
Yeah, that helps.
Don't they spawn more frequently
You all still
in
there?
level surfaces? Yeah.
Yeah, the bigger creatures.
Oh,
I thought
we lost Dragon.
Hang on. You probably are still there. I think my cat just unplugged our speakers, so I can't hear you.
This is fun.
Good job, Carter.
Meow. Meow.
Thanks, Gary.
We should all just meow.
Meow.
For a second.
Meow.
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 That hiss, though.
Meow.
Meow.
I hate Mondays.
Meow.
Meow.
Hey, I can hear you guys again.
Meow.
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 Keep
Do you
going.
regret hearing us now?
I'm watching to see if the cat reacts.
Meow.
Crap.
Meow.
Meow.
Disconnect.
Meow.
I'm about to lose all of my things, I think.
No.
I went into a portal and I'm in a wall.
Oh.
Where at? Are you able to screenshot?
It should show my coordinates just on the journey map, right?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot. Forgot about that cheaty journey map.
Yes,
Wow, I don't need your judgment.
that's the word
I'm
to
about to
describe
die.
I have it installed. It is definitely installed.
Wait, what happened? Oh.
Yeah, I did. But,
Oh no!
Oh yeah, and it should just show me a waypoint too from where I died.
Bye, Enoch. Have fun in the afterlife.
Thanks.
Bring us back something good.
So I was at -3, 5,
Not a snow globe.
77. Interesting.
Or novelty tea that says I went to the afterlife and all my friend went to the afterlife and all he got me was a stupid T-shirt.
Yeah, don't give me one of those.
Please do get me one of those.
I live for those.
If you die and go to heaven, and instead of coming back and writing a multi-million-dollar book, you bring back a T-shirt that says I went to heaven and all I got was the stupid shirt, I might have to help you.
I feel like you might be more believable than the people who write the $1 million book.
You would certainly be more enjoyable.
This is really probably just important to me, but I was listening to a podcast the other day from the Bible Project.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They have a series on they have a podcast on the angel of the Lord, which as modern day Christians, most theologians believe that refers to Jesus pre
Yes.
New Testament. Which
I
agree
believe that it's pretty. I'll say it's pretty. I think it's pretty clear that it is. He's the
It's fairly clear.
non-God character that allows himself to be worshipped as God. So
Exactly. And he's also referred to as the messenger of Yahweh and just Yahweh, like both in the same encounter. He's called Yahweh himself. So, but Judeo religions that don't believe in Jesus don't necessarily have that view, and they have other views on what the angel of the Lord is. And some of them believe that the angel of the Lord is just a high Elohim, so a high angel, basically an archangel that's second only to God himself. Hence the whole allows himself to be worshipped, basically. But also, like,
Satan.
no, not really. But also, at the same time, like, still a created being, but higher than any other. So, like, most people see Michael the Archangel as being the highest angel. But those who believe in this not being Jesus basically think that just a high angel that bears the image of God. But the name for that they have is called Metatron.
Metatron.
Yeah, it's a very epic
So-
sounding.
So it is. I mean, so it's basically just a Decepticon.
Exactly. It's basically. But yeah, as I said, it's fiction because it's not real because it was Jesus. But the people that believe in Metatron, which Metatron is a Greek word spelled with Hebrew letters, which just adds to the confusion.
Slash epicness, because that would be
Slash
cool.
epicness. But the other thing, the reason that I care is I just like mythology in general, and I like stuff about angels. I mean, my name is Michael, so I've always been interested in that sort of thing, archangels especially. But the same people who believe in Metatron believe that Metatron is the spirit of Enoch.
So the Gospel of Enoch, or the Book of Enoch, was written by Metatron.
Where are you?
No, the Book of Enoch was written in post, kind of like Genesis and Exodus
Daniel.
were written by Moses.
Oh, okay.
So the Book of Enoch was definitely not written by Enoch, even by those who believe the Book of Enoch is true. They know that wasn't written by him.
Well, I don't necessarily think the Book of Enoch isn't true, because I mean, the biblical writers reference Enoch.
Yeah, I think it's at least
Diglett.
relevant, and
I think it would be considered. It's not scripture. I think it would be like people reading, Francis Chan or things like that today.
right. It's an
It's like-
interpretation.
Or even it's a commentary that has biblical truths, but is not inherently inspired scripture.
So,
Correct.
if I'm correct in my recollection, isn't the Book of Enoch one of the deuterocanonical books that's in the Catholic scriptures, but not in the Protestant ones?
No, Enoch is in neither.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Enoch, the Book of Enoch is the one where, I mean, the Book of Enoch is definitely revered in Roman Catholic tradition because it's the one that has all of the Enoch is where we get all of our classic demonology, which I don't know why it's called demonology because it includes all angelic beings, but it's where we get like the 7 archangels where their names are like Raphael and
Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo.
And things like that. But it's where we get a lot
Behold.
of our
There were
gives
4
more
beasts.
information on Nephilim.
it's where we get our all of our information on non-biblical sources of angelic beings.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, say, if I were to write a Christian book that I would want people to read, and I am writing it as a Christian about the Bible, but I like the way Francis Chan said something. So it's like that. Like I'm referencing the Bible, but I'm also referencing Francis Chan.
Yeah.
So when people, like, the Bible references the Book of Enoch, but like the Book of Enoch isn't inspired. It would be like me referencing Francis Chan. Like I know Francis Chan isn't right about everything. That's assumed.
What?
Because nobody is. So it's But to me, that's like the whole Metatron thing that I just discovered is just like a double whammy of awesomeness. Because A, it's angelic coolness, and on the other hand, it's Enoch related, which is like my two favorite things in the Bible, other than salvation and
Diglett.
Jesus stuff. It's my favorite like wow factor, like because obviously I think Enoch's pretty cool, pretty invested in it, gamer tag and all that. But I don't know. I just thought that was really cool, even though it's not real.
Kind of speaking to the Book of Enoch stuff, though, I did read something. So I'm going through with my youth. We're doing a Revelation study right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they wanted to do. So I was like, all right, fine. You guys get to be confused as crap for the next 3 months.
Oh man, I love Revelation.
Oh no, I think it's great, but they're confused as crap. But so this tomorrow we're going through the 7 bowls,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a small little line in there.
Wait.
That
There's
is
only 5 bowls. Cotton bowl, orange bowl. Sorry, continue.
those are the main bowls. There's like 40. No, so at the very end of it, there's something that's very interesting. Or in the 4th bowl. So in the 4th bowl, the bowl is poured out and it turns all the freshwater sources. Oh crap! I made like 18 shovels.
Are they diamond shovels?
No, they were iron. It's just annoying. But I did not need that many shovels. Point being, they in the 4th bowl, he turns all the freshwater sources into blood. So like people can't drink; they have to drink blood. And it says after he does it, there is a comment about the angel of the water, like the angel over the waters, says something, which implies that angels have elemental dominion.
Oh yeah, straight up.
Dominions. So like there are angels who are in charge of water, and there are angels who are in charge of fire, and there are angels who are in charge of earth.
Twitch,
My favorite
question for you. Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt, but it's game related. Am I
Are you
riding
just-
on this go-goat, or am I inside it?
No, you're riding on it. You're like wave sitting back on its butt, but you're riding it.
Because from my view, I see the inside of it. And when I go to third-person
See?
view, like my head is in its butt. I
think
am
you're just-
at the same level as it.
I think you're just flaunting the fact that you've got a legendary.
Go-goat's not a legendary.
It's not?
No, it
I thought it
evolved
was.
from Skiddo. If
My
it is
favorite
legendary,
thing about-
I definitely caught it and didn't realize it. It's also only
I
level
think-
32, so...
Yeah.
I've actually seen there are certain legendaries that spawn at low level.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember. There was one that spawned at level 40.
Random other question, then we can get back to the interesting topic at hand. Can you pick up ranch block?
Yes?
No, only barbecue.
Oh.
You don't need silk touch.
No, you don't need Silk Touch to pick.
You
anything
shouldn't.
up in Pixelmon.
Okay.
Diglett.
I absolutely love, like, once again, Bible Project stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that whenever the Bible talks about other gods, it's not meaning like, oh yes, God, like Yahweh did this in Egypt,
Diglett.
because of the gods of Egypt. Like, it's not referring to those gods as if they're like fake.
Yeah.
They're not fake. They're real. Like,
Well, Paul says
They're not.
when people worship gods, they're worshiping demons.
yeah. So like that, the New Testament makes it a lot more easy because it refers to these gods as demons, because that's
Yeah.
what they are. Like, but
Diglett.
in the Old Testament, the word that they used for pretty much any spiritual being was Elohim, which just means God.
Diglett.
or spiritual being. So sometimes they use that word for God, but sometimes they use that word for angels, and sometimes they use that word for demons, and they just use it kind of interchangeably. But like when they say in Exodus that that the gods of Egypt did something, like it's talking about demons that are ruling over Egypt. Like
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Which makes it interesting when you think of, like, for instance, Molech, which God repeatedly tells the Israelites in the Old Testament that one of the worst things they do is they feed their children to the fires of Molech.
Yeah.
Which is part of Molech's worship was child sacrifice. You would sacrifice your children to this god Molech, which is then, I'm not saying one way or the other about it, but it's interesting to sit there and go, okay, well, if Molech was a demon posing as a god, and this demon required child sacrifice, would it not be possible that this demon is still operating today under the guise of, I don't know, abortion?
Yes. Absolutely. Because like even in Daniel, like I love it when it gets really specific. Because in Daniel straight up prays for like 2 weeks, and then eventually an angel shows up and says, "Sorry, it took me so long. I was fighting
it was
the god
Gabriel
over Persia."
It was Gabriel. Yeah, says I was fighting the master of the prince of this land of Babylon, and I was stalled until Michael came and backed me up.
Yeah, which is like, so that's one of the reasons that like prayer doesn't always get answered right away, because there's legitimate spiritual warfare that takes literal time.
Yeah.
Well, so a lot of Daniel represents like the political struggles of the Israelites.
His visions do, but that wasn't a vision. That was literally Gabriel coming to interpret his visions for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that portion of it, like,
held back.
But like
he had a vision. He had a vision, and Gabriel came and said, "I'm supposed to come and interpret and tell you what your visions mean." I was delayed.
But is it saying, because the rest of it's it's kind of like Revelation. It's like there aren't literal beasts. That was part of the narrative, and it's saying like,
no, because
God,
Daniel later did see visions of beasts that Gabriel told him those visions of beasts were this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
Right.
Also in Deuteronomy, it talks about when God split up the nations at the Tower of Babel. He also gave to each nation over to the fallen angels as well. So that's another example in the scripture of where each nation has a god.
Well, the interpretation I've always seen is that, like, unfortunately, the society was polytheistic, and so if you had a religion that came along in the scene and said, "Nope, there's only one God," then they would just be instantly like killed and shunned. And I mean, they already were for the most part, but like
not necessarily, because
what the Israelites did is like, sure, you have gods, but our God is way better.
Sure. Well, and that was actually that was even the prevailing thought in Israel, was until really Babylon, with the exception of a very few very specific close prophets of God. The prevailing thought was just gods were territorial. And so there were multiple gods, and it was just Yahweh just happened to be the God of Israel, and he had no power in other places outside of Israel. It wasn't, and which was one of the big important things when you think of human history as far as the exile to Babylon goes, is because that was one of the places God really showed, I have control over Babylon.
Yeah.
Well, in the 7th chapter of Daniel, it talks about God sitting on his fiery throne, and the throne has wheels.
Yes,
so it's basically saying like God's mobile; He's coming for you.
Well, and that's the concept too. Is that's actually that vision in was that in Daniel or is that in Ezekiel? Because I know Ezekiel has that vision.
Yeah, that's
Ezekiel's
also in Daniel. Daniel 7.
Well, and it's also in Revelation. The concept of the wheels, like
Revelation. A lot of Revelation is just like Daniel.
John. If you look at it, John pulls almost every single vision John has is a reference to one of the major Old Testament prophets. So he quotes Isaiah, he quotes Daniel, he quotes Ezekiel, he quotes Jeremiah, he quotes and part of it is he's referencing these prophets. Part of it is you know, these prophets had visions of heaven, and so John's vision of heaven is going to match these other prophets' visions of heaven.
Yeah. The other thing to think about the Old Testament too is that, like, yeah, the idea back then was polytheism, and the Jews or the Israelites were monotheists, but they still recognized gods because of the terms that they used. God did not mean the creator. God meant spiritual power. So when someone said, yeah, I worship this god, they were basically like, I'm sure you do, and I'm sure that that god is very powerful.
Well,
But my God created that god and is more powerful.
But
Yeah.
were they just saying that as kind of a political thing to say, or were they saying it as like, or did they actually believe that? Because I think
They 100% believed
certain-
that.
because certainly none of the New Testament authors have any sort of like reference to other gods or other, even though like Rome had so many different gods, like there was a rich.
Again, Paul says when people worship other gods, they're worshiping demons that are claiming to be gods.
And do you know where that reference is? I'm just curious because I want to look it up and read it for myself.
Give me a second. Let me look it up.
There's also when Jesus encounters demons, like demon-possessed people, they always refer to him as the Most High God. Like, there's no point in calling someone the Most High God unless you have a category for there being others.
So in 1 Corinthians 10:20, Paul's talking and he says the sacrifices of pagan. So hold on, it's starting in verse 19. He'll say, am I suggesting then that the food sacrificed to an idol is anything, or that an idol is anything? No, but the sacrifices of pagans are offered to demons, not to God. And I do not want you to participate with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons too. You cannot partake in the table of the Lord and the table of demons too.
Okay, that's interesting. And you said that's 1 Corinthians 10?
That's 1 Corinthians 10. 1 Corinthians, 10.
Okay.
This the King James version says devils. They sacrifice to devils.
Yeah. Well, and that's just another name for demons.
Yeah. It's really just about the terminology, because like people
kind of like how Satan is not necessarily a
name.
The Bible definitely. I mean, Satan is kind of like God, where the Bible. There are definitely times when it is like the Hebrew for Satan is personified in one specific instance, but also it's used multiple times. So like when God tells Peter, "Get behind me, Satan," he is not calling Peter the devil, because that's not personified.
He's calling him a deceiver.
Yeah, he's calling him deceiver or adversary. Satan was just adversary. So he's saying, "Get behind me,
Lucifer.
you deceiver! Get behind me, you adversary!" But
Lucifer meant deceiver.
Yeah.
No, actually, or Lucifer meant
the
star,
bright,
right?
something like
Bright
that.
star.
Yeah, bright.
But
bright morning star.
But then there is times in the Bible where Satan is capitalized. It is proper noun in the Hebrew. So it's interesting that it's like Satan is kind of like what Enoch was saying about Elohim or whatever, where it's like, yes, that can mean Yahweh, but it can also just mean a god.
Yeah. Or it could just mean like it literally means spiritual being.
Have you gotten to the part with the dragon yet in Revelation with your group?
Yes, we talked about that last week. The dragon. I mean it literally says the dragon is Satan. The dragon is it says the dragon is the ancient serpent who is deceived from the beginning. Yeah.
Just in case you weren't tracking.
In case you weren't tracking, the dragon's easy. And then the child is easy too. The woman, I was like, that's what we talked about, because we're like the woman, the child, and the dragon. All right, the dragon's easy. It literally says who the dragon is. The child's pretty easy too, as long as you know any kind of Old Testament scripture. Who is the one person who's going to rule all the nations with an iron rod? Well, that's Jesus. So the child has to be Jesus.
Yeah, and
then the hard part gets to be where the woman is. No.
Some people think it represents the
Some
church.
people. There are three main theories on who the woman is. The first one is the woman is Mary, because she birthed Jesus.
Oh,
the second, but Mary doesn't make sense. Whoa, Yeah, that
I got crashed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody
See,
I think had some bad lag there for a minute.
I've got real bad lag.
There we go. I'm back.
I didn't actually crash. I just rubber banded real bad.
I got kicked.
So it doesn't make sense that the woman's Mary per se, because
I
then
mean,
that
it
would mean-
represents Mary, but is it just Mary, or is it Mary
Well-
representing the church?
not necessarily. I don't think
or-
it's either. So
Okay.
the first prevailing is that it's Mary. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense because of the fact that if it were Mary, okay, I'm getting ready to get booted.
Yeah,
If it were Mary,
man,
that would mean that
yeah.
the dragon would be more. The dragon would have to be more Herod than Satan. And then the other one is that the woman is the church, but the church did not beget Christ. The church came after Christ. Plus the fact that that Revelation says that the rest of when it says the dragon gives up and goes to persecute the rest of the woman's offspring, it clearly states that the rest of her offspring are the church. The most common, and the one I tend to believe, is the woman represents the people of Israel.
Yeah.
Because
okay, so
Christ,
that's what I was thinking.
Christ
yeah.
came out of the people of Israel, who were God's original people, and also the church came out of the people of Israel. And once the dragon could not destroy the people of Israel, he started going after the rest of Israel's offspring, the church.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Okay, I'm
I
still
say, you
lagging.
all still
We
having
also lagging.
super
The
amounts of
rubber
lag?
banding is real.
Do we need to reset this? Because I'm rubber banding so bad.
Yeah, I'm just not moving really.
I can't get anything done. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to go to where I died.
I can't even turn around. Like, if I just turn my view, it pulls me back to where I was looking originally.
I tried healing my Pokemon. There's one ball on the healer that's just sitting there spinning.
Jagan, do you want to reset the server, or do you think that would help? Or do we just need to wait it out?
So
It
I can-
seems to be fine for me now. Just,
I'm still struggling hardcore with it. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
So I'm still sitting here spinning in the middle of a healer.
oh,
Nope.
never mind.
I'm still-
I just rubber,
yeah.
rubber
There,
banded.
there it went.
Well, back a few feet here.
Oh gosh, I'm like 100 blocks away from where I died.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
man,
my
this gotta be rough for you.
I know. I'm like, please don't despawn. Make me so sad. I mean, I'm sure it has despawned actually, but I'm not really sure how the ultra space.
I can't even
works.
move. I literally cannot move out of my space now. I'm stuck.
Well, Enoch, let me know when you get your stuff, and at that point, then I will.
I don't know if he can.
I'm
with this.
slowly getting closer. Like right now, I'm actually only. Oop, oop, oop.
Okay, well, I can't move. Like, I literally cannot move. Oh, maybe I got out. Maybe there's an invisible wall that was keeping me from just moving in one direction.
And I got it. I got all my stuff.
Yay.
It was. I just had to dig straight down until I got to it, and I got it.
Oh, you died underground?
Yeah, that's how I died. Is because I spawned into a block in the
Oh,
space.
Dang.
I haven't lagged in a bit though, so
Yeah, it kind of seems like it's better.
I'm still lagging.
I'm lagging a little bit.
I'm still getting blocks that I'm mining and then they're reappearing.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop the server, and then I will restart it, and that should fix it, because it looks like there was... Interesting.
well, guys, this has been Bible Talks with Lamppost Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've liked it. It's
No,
fun.
I think
a good
this is
conversation.
a great thing to do.
Okay, do you need us to disconnect?
I
a little
don't think
bit?
so. I just hit restart, so it probably will kick us.
Whoa! Why am I all of a sudden flying? Oh
'cause
no!
I just
I
hit
turned on
restart.
my elytra.
Hey, George.
Oh. Hey,
George, is it raining?
in real life?
Yes.
Let me look out my window.
I think I hear rain.
Okay. I got kicked.
So while we're to go back to a comment made very long ago, Enoch, you mentioned that your favorite things were Enoch, and you said something about names or what was it you said about why you liked him, or the
Why I like Enoch or Metatron?
I think it was what you were talking about with Enoch. Something about why you found him to be a particularly cool character in the Bible.
Oh, yeah, he's my favorite. I mean, obviously, other than God, and the persons of God, he's my favorite character in the Bible because the Bible literally says nothing about him, and except for every time it does talk about him, it's just basically how he was such a good friend of God that God said, "You're too good for this world. I'm just taking you."
Hmm.
Like it was him and Elijah, the only two people who never died.
Yep.
So it's kind of, that's why my gamer tag is Enoch's Legacy, because I like the idea of striving to be such a good friend with God that he just decides, I'm going to take you because we're best friends, and I'd rather you be with me.
Besties, peace out.
So that's kind of like I can't imagine, like obviously Moses, like people look at Moses and see how close in a relationship he was with God, to the point where he was actually glowing and taking on physical characteristics of him. But even he wasn't taken up to heaven for how righteous he was. So I can't really imagine how close Enoch and God were. So if I were to pick a legacy, that would be it. Hence the name.
Okay.
I'm going to change my name, my gamer tag to Osteen's Legacy.
Oh gosh.
You suck. That is the definition of suck.
Okay, I'm back. It like sprinkled out there, but
Okay. Well, I
That's it.
thought like in the absence of a server, I thought I started hearing sprinkles. And so I was like, is it raining?
So
Yeah,
Enoch, I was
wasn't
going to
bad.
say my personal favorite character for somewhat similar reasons, although also somewhat different, is Cyrus, the leader of the Medo-Persian Empire. Not because he walked with God and was a godly man, but because I think it was 500 years. Twitch, you may correct me if I'm wrong on that. That Isaiah literally calls him out by name in the book of Isaiah, saying, "I will raise up my servant Cyrus," in a time where like the name Cyrus was not a name. Like I mean, it probably was a name, but like the ruling people at the time, that wasn't a common name. And so to say like, "I will raise up my servant Cyrus," you're like, what are you talking about? That's what's
a Cyrus?
Yeah, like
What is the Cyrus?
Yeah, why would you like? What is this name? And then 500 years later, it's like, oh hey, look, there's a guy literally named Cyrus who frees the Jews from captivity.
Well, the other cool thing is like Daniel, in the book of Daniel, it like Daniel accurately predicts the Persians, the Greeks, and the Roman empires
Yep.
living in Babylon.
So yeah, that's interesting. We're going through a Daniel study right now in Sunday school, and it's one of those things where there's evidence pointing to it being written later, during much closer to much closer to when the Romans were ruling,
Well,
because it's an apocalyptic literature after chapter 7, and actually starting in chapter 7, it's apocalyptic literature, and that literature was just only around during like a certain time period
that we know of.
So one thing people think might have happened is like Daniel 1 through 6 was written earlier, and then Daniel 7 through whatever was written later as apocalyptic scripture.
I mean, apocalyptic literature could very easily have existed well before. It's just we don't have copies that old of it.
Yeah. And then, so it's really interesting in Daniel, like the 4 beasts in Daniel represent 4 different empires that the Israelites were under.
Mm-hmm. With the super beast.
And the last beast had, so apparently a lot of scholars think the last beast is Greece. So they count like Babylon, Media, Persia, and Greece, as opposed to Rome. but because something about how there's the horns and it like points to this specific guy in Greece named Antioch or something.
Yes. So, yeah, because there's the horn that comes up, and then it breaks off
There are
into
10 horns.
4 horns.
Well, the vision that predicts Rome is not actually the beasts; it's the statue. It's Nebuchadnezzar's
the
dream.
earlier one. Yeah, the earlier one.
Nebuchadnezzar's dream is the one that actually accurately predicts the Medes, the Greeks, and the Roman. Because it's the cool thing is it specifically predicts Alexander the Great and his fall and the distribution of his kingdom amongst his generals. Like, Daniel specifically predicts Alexander the Great, his early untimely death, and then the fact that his generals will divvy up his empire in Nebuchadnezzar's dream.
And then in Daniel's dream, he had the dream about the 4
And then,
beasts.
Daniel's dream about the 4 beasts, which the interesting thing is, kind of going back to the Revelation thing, the 4 beasts 3 of the 4 beasts in Daniel's dream make up the beast of the sea. The beast of the sea is made up of the animals of the 3 beasts that Daniel has a vision of.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads to representations of the beast of the sea just representing essentially governments, world governments that worship themselves instead of God.
Yes.
Which at that time Rome would have been the one they were talking about.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that like I've been listening to a lot of divine structuring of authority, but they talk about how when man is doing what it's supposed to be doing, we're given authority. Like God gives us authority; He shares His authority from the beginning. But when we try to do things outside of that, when we try to become more like God and take on more sovereignty than we should, we become beasts. Like when we want worship ourselves, we turn into animals which have no authority, which is just so interesting how that works.
One of the hardest passages in the Bible for me is Romans 13, which says all authority on earth is ordained by God or is established by God.
Yeah.
That's the hard one for me.
He likes to share his authority. So ultimately it can be given and it can be taken away, but from the very beginning it was let us create God in our image, and then he did it.
Well,
and then he said and then he gave authority to humans immediately.
So, here's the cool thing too, and this one of my sources that I'm going through for Revelation is David Platt.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a Revelation study on Right Now Media, and one of the things he mentions multiple times is even through Revelation, when you look at the authority of the beast and the authority of like all the demons that happen and stuff like that, one specific thing is always said about it, and it's that authority is given to the beast. The beast didn't intentionally have authority. God even gives authority to Satan and demons.
Yep.
Even their power and their authority is given to them.
Yep.
It's not theirs inherently.
Mm-hmm. But he does give it.
Yes.
So it's interesting how that works, because like obviously God is sovereign, and if it weren't for him, the whole universe would fall apart. So at one point he is totally sovereign, but on the other hand, he lets us make choices. Like even
holy cow, the viewers are probably screaming right now. Oh my gosh, I'm like stuck in a block or something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It must be an invisible block, but because I can't mine it, and oh my gosh.
It's a donkey. Mudbray.
Okay. I figured it out.
I thought you were saying they were screaming because we were talking about like Christian things.
No.
Hey, I got up to 2 viewers for 10 minutes during this last conversation.
Hey,
so
I still have 2 viewers. One of them is me, but I still have 2 viewers.
You know, if we really want a lot of viewers, we should just like buy a ton of computers.
Yes, because that is the goal here.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I don't remember. I was saying something about
I'm sorry.
authority.
my
authority.
problem with the passage is like Paul. I know Paul's like talking to people who there were the zealots, right? And the zealots wanted to fight Rome, and under the guise of Christianity, and the early Christians were like, no, let's not do that. We want to like even Jesus submitted to the authority.
Right.
I mean, to the extent of death.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to me, it's just so difficult to think like, oh, Rome was even established by God, or like
Nazi Germany.
Every oppressive country is given authority by God.
Yep.
Yeah,
but then
that goes back to Deuteronomy too, though. When God split up the nations and gave them over to God from the beginning gave authority on earth to humans, and in the heavens he gave to his divine council of spiritual beings. So there's two realms, and he gave authority to beings in both. So, but when the angelic beings fell, just like mankind fell, they kept their authority. Like we still have our.
That's why Satan's referred to as the prince of the power of the air.
Yeah, because his power didn't get taken away from him. Like God gave him the choice of what to do with his power, and he's made it. Just like we still have our power and dominion over the animals and things like that we've always had. We just got kicked out of the garden and don't have eternal life anymore. That's the price of our choice. But like just like us, Satan and all the demons still have their sovereignty that they were given from the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. There was some evil Israelite king that I don't remember the name of. It was like Agag or something like that. But he, at one point, he was doing bad things, and God asked his divine council, "What should we do about this?" And one of the angelic beings said, "Hey, how about we trick him into thinking that he should go to war with this nation?"
That was probably Satan.
No, it wasn't. It was because God answered and said, "That's a great idea. Go do it."
Well, I mean, it was the same thing in Job, right? So like Job, Satan was like, "Hey, you know, it'd be great is if we test Job and make sure he's loyal to you."
This was God. That was like for God. That was talking about Job, who was actually a good person. This was them saying. This was God saying, "This king of Israel is a problem. We need to do something about him. What do you guys think we should do?" And they came up with an idea to get rid of him, and God said, "Great idea. Do it."
What passage is that one in?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I know what story you're talking about, and I thought about that earlier. Yeah, God. It says, I think it specifically refers to this being as a spirit of deceit or the spirit of something along those lines. It says, "I will go put false words into the mouths of his prophets," because this is all being
that makes me think it is Satan, but
and it may be or one of the other angels that fell, but it's told from the perspective of one of the prophets. That it's in Second Kings or Second Chronicles, one of the two.
The thing there too is that like I'm pretty sure that it says it was an evil spirit, just like an evil spirit tormented Saul. But the word evil too there is different from what we think of it, because when we say something is evil, we think that it is by nature an evil thing. Like if I were to say, "Jagan, you're evil," you would think, "Oh, Jagan's a bad guy. He must hate puppies and do bad things." But really, in the Old Testament, when you said something was evil, like an evil spirit, it doesn't mean that the spirit by nature is evil. It means that what is going to happen based on what it's going to do is going to be bad.
It doesn't necessarily mean the spirit himself is defying God.
Correct. It is the action that it is doing that's going to bring about bad things.
I would have to, I mean, I'm not familiar with that story. I would have to go through that story.
Yeah.
But just because I don't know, I don't remember exactly what happens with that. Like,
I'll look it up.
The story is told from the perspective of one of the true prophets, Elijah or somebody along those lines. That he shows up to the king's palace and is like, "Look, all of your other prophets are lying to you. Here's why. This is what God has told me happened. And it's more or less presented from that perspective, which is an interesting insight into it for sure. But yeah,
Okay,
look it up.
So it was Ahab was the king.
It was Ahab was the king?
Yeah, and he was hunting the whales.
Well, I just said
so
that Ahab's the husband of Jezebel.
It was yeah, that's probably why. So
Like-
it's 1 Kings 16 is the chapter. I'll look it up on Bible Gateway.
So while you're looking
Such
that
a
up,
good source.
I mean, it's just the Bible, so.
I know. But you can search it by keyword.
Hmm.
So you can be like, I don't remember what it was. It has something to do with this, and then yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else like use the Blue Letter Bible app to do quick comparisons? Like you can check what was the root word of, like, where did this word come from?
Oh.
Because it has like the earliest Greek translations indexed and stuff like that. And so then you can compare it. Okay, where else was this exact word used in the Bible? It's really nice. Obviously, I probably don't use it as well as many people, but
yeah, so it's a concordance then, where it's like, yeah, look up
Yeah,
this word.
exactly.
It'll tell you everywhere this word is used.
yeah. But you can tap, like, while you're reading the Bible, you can tap the word. So I use that in like Sunday school and Bible studies quite a bit. But
Well, no, I did not know that existed. So now I
yeah,
do.
it's called Blue Letter Bible, and it has some other things too in it that make it pretty good. But
Sorry, I was texting. What was so cool about Blue Letter Bible?
so you can tap like a sentence, and it'll give you all of the root words, so like the Greek words,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you can tap the Greek word, and it'll give you all of the places in the Bible where that exact word was used.
Okay.
And of course, it's using like the earliest translations that it can find and stuff like that. But so it helps because a lot of times people will be reading like NIV in class, and then I'm reading ESV or something, and we're like, well, mine says this, and they're like, well, mine says this, and then it's like, well, I think both of them are correct, but we have all these English connotations to words that don't necessarily fit.
Yep. Tis a problem.
So Jagan, I got the privilege of hanging out with some bees over the weekend.
Oh, did you?
Yes. So went to well, I'm not going to say where I went, but I went somewhere.
Went to my house.
Went to Twitch's house and got to wear a bee hat. This tells you how much I know about it. A bee hat and bee gloves.
There is evidence, photographic evidence too.
And yeah, so Grandpa took us out there, and of course your dad was like, I know what's going on, so Grandpa wanted him to check it out, and then I got to tag along and go check out the bees, and then like,
And I was
they were-
sleeping with a 2-year-old. Taking
They
a
were
nap.
like swarming around my face and all that, which was really exciting.
That's one word for it, I suppose.
Well, I mean, because they lifted up the lid and were like moving things around a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to check it out and stuff. So
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your beekeeping experience.
yes,
Your apiary experience.
I'm glad to see, or I see that you enjoyed your beekeeping experience with the apiary.
Okay, so I just found this verse.
Enoch was
And
committed.
sorry, I was totally ignoring everything you were saying.
he like
I just
turned off his speaker. He's like, "Oh, they're talking about bees. I don't care about this."
Totally focused on this. So specifically, it's 1 Kings 22:20. It says, "And the Lord said, who will entice Ahab into attacking Ramoth Gilead and going to his death there?"
Hmm.
And then it says, one suggested this and another that. Finally, a spirit came forward, stood before the Lord, and said, I will entice him. By what means? The Lord asked. I will go out and be a deceiving spirit in the mouths of all his prophets, he said, and then, you will succeed in enticing him, says the Lord. Go and do it. So now the Lord has put a deceiving spirit in the mouths of all these prophets of yours. The Lord has decreed a disaster for you.
Nice.
So that's basically God consulting with his divine counsel and asking who's going to do this, and then they discussed it, and someone said, I'll do this, and God says, how are you going to do it? And he says,
I'll say
I'm gonna do it this way, and God says, okay, go do it.
I say it almost sounds more like God was like. I'm not saying it sounds like well, I say it almost sounds like God was like testing them, like, all right, guys, who thinks that they know the correct way to go get Ahab to go die in war?
I mean,
and they were like, maybe we can do this. Like, nope, that's not the right answer. Maybe we can do this. Nope, that's not the right answer.
Yeah.
Maybe we can lie to his prophets. Yes, that's the right answer. That's the one that's going to work, guys. Go do that.
It's similar to when Israel, like right after they got out of Egypt and they made the golden calf when Moses was up on the mountain. And God says to Moses, leave me, I'm going to destroy all of them and start over with you as my new Abraham, and I will turn you into a great nation. And Moses, like a total boss, decides, God, that's actually not a good idea. And like, who has the
Conies?
Yeah, who has the presence, like the authority to tell God that's not a good idea. Think of what the Egyptians will say. They'll say you just brought your people out into the desert to kill them. It's a bad idea for your glory. Don't do it. God says, fine. So like God includes Moses into this decision-making process, even though, and in the conversation, like if you read it, it's almost as if Moses has an equal say. But he doesn't. Like it's laughable to think that he would, but God gives him the say.
Well, the same thing happens with Abraham.
Yeah.
With Sodom and Gomorrah, where God says, "I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah," and He's like, "What if 10 people were found? Would you still destroy it?" And He's like, "Okay, if 10 people were found, I won't destroy it." But that doesn't exist. There aren't 10 people. It's like, well, what if 5 people? And so it kind of goes from that same way, but at the same time, also, it's kind of like a. Though these are the ones that kind of give me pause, because it's like, how do you reconcile things like that, where it's where the Bible, it seems like human beings talk down God and change His mind.
Yeah. It's because he
and how do you reconcile that with the fact that God is omniscient and He doesn't change?
Yeah.
And so it almost to me it almost feels like it almost feels like it's a. God says this to see what our reactions will be. Will we say, no, we need to do the righteous thing, God, or will we try to, in the instance of like Moses, or will Moses try to be like, oh, hey, I can be the guy?
Yeah,
I can. Be
Abraham.
Abraham.
Really frustrating thing.
I kind of feel like the Moses one may have been testing Moses' leadership and like commitment to the Israelites, but then maybe the Abraham one, God was actually giving him a say. Just kind of like, hey, dude, like, because God ultimately destroyed those towns. How much do you
care about Lot? Like,
yeah.
Are you really going to fight for Lot, for your nephew? Yeah.
The really frustrating thing, though.
Well, because the thing with Moses is Moses actually ended up failing, if you remember. I mean, that's why he didn't get into the Promised Land, because he actually ended up getting so frustrated with the Israelites that he was like, I'm done with you.
Yeah. What's really frustrating for me, because I know that the Bible is true, which means that even if something, like, even if you look at something and you're like, I don't know how this fits, some aspect of it is true, whether it's abstract or not. Like, what is the truth that you can glean from it? It's because when it comes to Moses, it literally says in the Bible that he changed God's mind. Those words are in there. And I'm like, okay.
Well...
so what truth is that?
For that you have to. For that you would have to. And I haven't done it yet, but my guess would be on that is, I would venture to say that if you look at the Hebrew word for mind,
it says that God repented specifically. That's the word.
Oh, well, repent just means change course.
Repent just means change course, but repent is also not a Hebrew word. So.
Yeah.
You would need to look up. I would wonder if it would be something into the same effect as El, where it's the Hebrew word can mean completely changed your mind, or it could also mean some other concept. I wouldn't know. I don't know what it is, but I would wonder. Like I said, I haven't actually done that research. I would wonder if that would be the connotation.
Yeah,
And
I
change your
honestly
mind could
haven't
just
done.
be in the context of the conversation too. Like he
Yeah,
changed what he was saying.
And not maybe not even change God's mind, but repent. Yeah, repent is turn is
It's just
180.
turn around,
So it could
yeah.
be he changed God's course of action. Not necessarily say not with that, and that could be God could have been planning to change course of action the entire time. Like if I'm steering a boat, I can repent and change my course, which I had been planning to do from the beginning, but I'm still changing the course
Yeah.
at some point in time. And like I could be sitting there planning to change my course and go somewhere, and you just went, "Hey, you need to turn here," and I'd be like, "Yeah, you're right." And that doesn't mean I wasn't planning on changing it in the first place, but you did convince me to. You did say change your course, and I said yes. I will change my course because you told me to.
And that's the thing, like, as someone who's leaned more towards predestination and Calvinism than free will in the majority of my Christian life, that's kind of big for me to realize, because, like, I've struggled pretty much my whole life with thinking, like, why does prayer matter? If God already knows what I'm going to say and he's going to do what he was already going to do anyway. But regardless... like Moses, Abraham, they all had parts to play.
But to what extent was their will important? To me, because I mean, there are good and bad things with like Calvinism, and obviously Calvinism it's a 5-point tulip thing. So there's some points that are good, some points that are bad.
I'm not
but
a
ultimately
Calvinist.
I would consider myself a 3-point Calvinist.
That I was thinking that like there I went through it, and you know there are a couple things that are really the fact that there may be a certain number of people that are in, everybody else is out. I don't know. Like I guess it depends on how you think of that, but the interesting thing to me about Sodom and Gomorrah is that like God already had the meteorite that destroyed that entire area on a path towards Earth. It's not like
it would
it's not like it's not like Abraham was going to change his mind on that issue.
But he
because
could have.
For millions of years, that meteorite, or however long you think, that meteorite had already been heading towards Earth.
Well, and for me, I mean, it could very well, Sodom and Gomorrah could very well have been another instance of Isaac, of the Isaac test, like just, and not even again. And the interesting also is this concept of, you know, if God is omniscient, God knows everything, so why test?
Mm-hmm.
Why tell Abraham to offer Isaac as a sacrifice when you know that he's not, that he would be willing to do it if you told him to, you know? But
I also think
Sodom and Gomorrah could very easily have been in that vein too, where it's like, hey, what's your reaction to this going to be? If I say I'm going to destroy this town, how do you react to that? If you've got family that you love in that town, and they may or may not actually deserve the judgment that's coming as well, how do you react to that? What's your reaction to me saying I'm going to do this?
I also think too, like, so because God is 100% sovereign, like, yes, he already had the meteor, like, going to Sodom, but he also, like, because he's sovereign, he had that coming, but he also knew, I think that he gives us the ability to choose, while at the same time knowing what we're going to choose.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think.
So because he gives us choices, but he also knows what we're going to choose, so he's ready for the choice, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying that Abraham got to choose for Sodom and Gomorrah. If there had been one, I think God would have honored it, but he knew there wouldn't be. But in the case of Abraham, like, obviously God knew what he was going to say, but I do think he gave him the choice right there to say, okay, yeah, start over with me.
Mhm.
He was giving Moses the
Or
option.
Moses, yeah, Moses.
Right. Sorry, did I say Abraham or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was to be honest, I'm like texting while going, so I didn't fully hear it. So I was just double checking.
Yeah. But yeah, he's in the business of giving up sovereignty and delegating it.
So one thing that's really interesting to me, and it's like, I don't know, on that same note, have you ever seen the video, or it's like a documentary called Star of David? And it's like a scientific documentary where they take Google Sky or some other tool similar.
Star of Bethlehem?
Star of Bethlehem, sorry, yeah.
Yes.
And they chart out what it would have looked like based on the math, because the math is there for how planets revolve. It's very predictable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they charted out what it would have looked like there and found that there was a guiding star.
Yeah. Well,
And
it was Venus and Jupiter.
And Jupiter. And so, like, just corroborating the story with star maps. But to me, it's amazing that, like, God set that in motion so many years before that.
Well, and not only because I've seen that documentary too, and that I think the thing is fascinating, super fascinating. Mostly because it corresponds with the reason no one else found it first was because everyone was assuming a date that was essentially a print error on the Gutenberg press. The Gutenberg press, when it was printing ancient documents, an ink smudge happened, and it changed the date of Herod's death. By like 3 years. It changed it from like, I don't remember what years it was because it's been a while since I've seen it, but it changed Herod's death by like 3 years. So he like plugged back in this new date, and then all of a sudden everything just started falling into place.
Well, and it's like if anything could remotely resemble a guiding star in that decade or 2-decade period, it's like, okay, maybe we were wrong about the date because we are messed up people. But we weren't wrong about this. And
the thing, like, I mean, everything just completely, and like, because he sits there and he goes through Matthew and he's like, okay, there are 9 criteria that this thing had to have happened. That, like, it's a very specific thing that happens with it. And just the fact that those 2 planets do exactly that and meet it so succinctly is amazing. But the other cool thing to me is when you look at, like, what was going on, with constellations in the sky at that point in time too, like the fact that that Jupiter, the king planet, crosses Regulus, the king star, inside the constellation Leo 3 times, right when Christ would have been born, would have been the sign that the Magi saw that said, "Oh, a king is born in Judah," because Judah is the lion. Which is how they would have known to just go straight to Herod and be like, "There's a king born of the Jews. Where is he? We'd like to worship him," because we saw this thing happened. Like the king planet crossing the king star would have been a king is born, and it happened in the constellation of the lion of Leo, which would have been, oh, the lion is the symbol of Judah. This has been the king born of the Jews. And then also that Christ was born under the sign of Virgo, the Virgin.
Yeah.
And when Virgo came through the sky, and that year, the moon was at her feet, and the sun shone through the middle of the constellation, which then coincides with the symbolism of Revelation, where it says the woman will give birth to a son, and the moon was at her feet, and she was clothed in the sun.
Yikes.
And it's not like the crazy thing, like the guy who wrote Revelation would have wrote it. Well,
John, whether it's the apostle or not, it's John.
Yeah, it's a guy
he
named
names himself as John.
Yeah. And there, I mean, he would have been old, so he wouldn't have had the star charts. He's not an astronomer in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that he nailed that is it's only God. Like, there's no way. Like, I mean, if he had Google Sky back then, that would be one thing. But
he didn't have
just
Google
phenomenal.
Sky. He just had the sky.
Well, and then like the other cool thing with it too. I mean, and like I said, you can go watch this in your off time. The Star of Bethlehem. It's the entirety of it is on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube for free.
Yeah. It's worth it for sure.
And it is totally worth it. But like he also talks about how, because he's going through all these things about what the star has to do and stuff like that, and like it has to have stopped over Bethlehem, and it has to have done these things. And honestly, he doesn't ever
Retrograde motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's the retrograde motion of the planets is the only way it really could have moved like that. But like the fact that Venus and Jupiter do a figure 8 overlap, so they don't completely overlap, they kind of make a figure 8, which is instead of them eclipsing one another and one of them blocking the light of the other, they would have both given 100% of their light to the night sky, which is why it would have been so bright. But then also, the fact that it's also the king planet and the mother planet were the two that did it. That's also a side fun fact. But the coolest thing was when because it had to, one of the things was it had to have stopped over Bethlehem, which would have meant retrograde motion. And he was going through, and this one
From
I
the
think
perspective
of Jerusalem.
it
would have had to stop from Jerusalem to Bethlehem, the road from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. And so he's tracking it in the sky, and he finds it when he stopped. And this one I think is the coolest thing about it, because this shows God's ultimate sovereignty in all of history to me. The star stopped over Bethlehem on December 25th. So December 25th would have been the day that the wise men came to Christ.
Not the day he was born, but
not necessarily the day he was born, but the day the wise men showed up.
That's funny.
Which to me just goes, okay, so to me it shows that, yes, and I don't think anyone really, no one, except for maybe really small children, and once they grow up they kind of learn, but no one really, we know pretty much for a fact that Jesus was born in like April.
Yeah.
Not on December 25th. That's not Christ's birthday. It was the Christianization of the European holiday of Yule and Saturnalia and other things like that, where the Catholic Church, when they were basically taking over Europe, they let the pagans, they said, you can keep your holidays, but you have to do it in Christian names, and that's where we get Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows that God is sovereign even over things like that, where there is still a redemptive value and an actual biblical truth grounded in the Christmas time of the Christmas holiday, even though that holiday was taken over by a pagan holiday. There is still true Christian redemptive value in it, because
you
that
also
was the
wanna
day
see,
the wise men
like,
showed up.
Because there's a lot of things in the Bible that are not, like, I would say the amount of things in the Bible that are strictly for us to read and not like ancient readers.
Yeah.
Like obviously everything applies and everything has its place, but there's very few things that are specifically pointed at us rather than them. And like back then, people did not know these things about the stars. They believed that the stars were actually spiritual beings. Like they didn't know that they were balls of gas. They thought that above
stars
the
were
atmosphere
angels.
was water. Like they legitimately thought that that the heavens were just in the sky and that those were angels, and like they didn't know any of this stuff. So it's very interesting that that's all we only see this now, but it's the inspired authors wrote it anyway.
Yep.
Gentlemen, this is very cool, and I love to have this conversation. I would love to continue, but I just realized it is 10:40, so I need to go to bed.
Yeah, I'll need to go soon too.
But we should definitely do this again next week of just more talk about Bible things.
I will go ahead and say that there are chances from now on about my merits of being available throughout the course of the week. I'll keep you guys updated on Tuesdays, but just with wedding stuff coming up. Today is exactly 1 month out, so
Yay!
we are in crunch time. So I don't know.
Yep.
Basically, I'm not going to guarantee that I will be on every Tuesday from here on out. But I'll keep you guys updated weekly.
But without you, we're just going to speak a bunch of blasphemies on accident.
Well,
No, I'm kidding. That's all right. Cool.
that's going to be on you, I got to say. I'm just like...
It's okay. We've probably already said a bunch of blasphemies.
Yeah, I mean, Calvinism. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so if you're out there listening, don't take our word for it. Go read the book. Ba-dum-bum.
I was going to say, thank you,
LeVar Burton and Reading
LeVar
Rainbow.
Burton, yeah. Thank you, LeVar Burton.
Yeah, well, it's bedtime, yo.
Oh, I had a guy comment. Savetti plays. Sorry, I did not see your comments.
Come
because I
on,
was playing.
Jagan.
I'm bad.
You are.
So Savetti,
So-
if you're still out there, if you come back, hi.
The problem with like comments on Facebook is I never know when to read them or not because they are actual people's names.
Oh,
Like it's not like YouTube or Twitch where people are using their gamer tags and they want to be shouted out.
Some people
someone-
are using their gamer tags on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, and
Unless you
YouTube
put
tries
it
to make you
profile.
use names too. Yeah, but on Facebook, like it says 8 comments, but I only see 4.
yeah, Facebook does that. I don't know.
But thank you for commenting those things.
Were they nice things?
Yes, they.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Someone said, "Better watch your mouth. Everything matters." I think that's because we were saying to Christian Minecraft server.
Oh.
And then, yeah, someone was agreeing that the